The world of Alaria is changing, and the goddess who created it has no idea why. On the eve of the apocalypse, Liam is transported to another world, along with his house. Liam was waiting for his father to come home from work when the house shook, and 2 moons appeared overhead. Stranded within a land where he doesn't speak the language and people are set on attacking him, he must survive in this new land where nothing makes sense. A gorgeous princess holds the key to him learning about his new world that he has found himself in, and little of it is good news. First up, learning why people keep attacking his house. This series is set in the same universe as the Game of Gods and contains elements of gamelit. Okay, so Dungeon Alaria, the Dungeon Alaria, because titles are a thing, is the first of 2 books, I think, in the Dungeon Alaria series. Now, I don't actually know how many books the series will have total, but so far there are 2. I read the first one. Yeah, okay, math is a thing. This book follows Liam, who is transported while he's at home to a new realm with his house, and things like electricity still work, and running water. And it turns out that, well, he kind of landed on top of a dungeon, Wizard of Oz style, and the people aren't happy about it. Yeah. So from there, things become very involved, sort of your standard gamelit dungeon fantasy world, where you have the dungeon, the monsters, the, various stats and things to follow that you would get in a video game. Yeah, I can't say a huge amount about the plot because there are spoilers involved, and we don't want to give away spoilers, that would be bad. So, yes. Okay. I can tell you that the Princess Ellie is Liam's main conduit to the world, and she sort of teaches him about the language, about the people, about what the dungeon does for the world, and that sort of a thing. And it becomes very paramount, their relationship and their ability to communicate and whatnot, to sort of like setting off on the path to save the world, I guess. It's a whole thing. Yeah. I am really bad at analyzing gamelit stats and how it works as far as like video game style, simply because I don't actually play video games, and I haven't for many years. I don't want to spend the money on the games, so I don't. It's a thing. So I know, generally speaking, this book follows the video game style and the gamelit style very well. I can't tell you more than that, though, so sorry. I can tell you that the characters are quite interesting. I like the fact that they're very much quirky and sort of... The quirks, I think, are the most important part of the characters because they make them feel more real as opposed to your stereotypical fantasy group than you would find. And I think that's very interesting for relating the real world on Earth to this world of Alaria. And, I think it works pretty well. I will say there does seem to be a strange amount of food description in this book. And it's not that that's a bad thing, it's just I don't often see that in fantasy novels for some reason. Food description only comes, like, every now and again if it's culturally relevant or something. Or relevant to the plot, like, a character gets their face smashed into a pie or something. But I don't actually see food descriptions being normalized in the world of fantasy, and I think this book did that, and it was interesting, and I liked it. It felt more, normal. I will say my main critique is that this book needed another edit. As far as the prose went, it does work very well. The sentences made sense, the story followed very logically, I could figure out exactly what was going on when. I didn't need to stop and analyze the language. However, commas. commas are a thing, and they really needed to be reanalyzed in this book. Yeah. I mean, technically speaking, reading through, you weren't confused by the lack of commas. There was a lot of difficulty with grammar being accurate and making sense because there were no commas, or occasionally a semicolon would be used in place of commas, or something like that. It was mostly just sentences were smooshed together that could have either been separated by a comma or a period or whatnot. And that's fine, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. I got through it no problem. I noticed it, and the fact that I noticed it really kind of detracted from the story, which I thought was fun, and I enjoyed it, and because it was a good book. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Granted, most people are not like me, and they don't notice that sort of detail, but considering I am A, a writer myself, B, an editor, and C, a linguist, I tend to pick up on a lot of the little bitty details in language. So, if you're not that way, then this is not a problem at all. Yeah. Anyways, I think this book was fun. I think it, it kept moving along at a relatively nice pace. It was good to follow. The characters were entertaining, and I liked the quirks. And I think the ending, well, it wasn't quite a cliffhanger. It was more like you walked to the edge of the cliff. It was a nice resolution. You could see the horizon in the distance, and then you sort of looked down, and the book ended. And not a cliffhanger, but definitely saying, oh no, there's a whole lot more to come. And yes, so I assume that happens in book 2. Yep. Anyways, if you're interested in this book, as usual, all of the links are in the description box below. You can find them there. Yeah, gamelit is a thing. You don't really need to be into video games to read this book. As I explained, I don't play video games. It's not really my thing. But I found that I enjoyed this book quite a bit, and you didn't get really bogged down with the game mechanics, I think. So, yeah. Yes, links in the description. Yeah, well, otherwise, go cause some trouble. This will be my last video book review for the year, starting up again, of course, in 2021. And I say have a great end of year, holiday celebration, New Year's, etc. All of those wonderful things. It has been absolutely wonderful, and I shall see you next time. Bye.